Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, for another round of QSR simulations, live from Homestead Miami. On tap for you tonight, the Hensley Forklift Parts and Service 135. I'm Morgan Cook, broadcaster and producer, alongside the one and only, the Jake Reeves, redneck announcer extraordinaire, and we are here live on Vspeed, as always, Tuesday night, ready to bring you some fantastic racing action from the 1.5-mile confines of Homestead Miami Speedway. Jake, tell me a little bit about this place.
Well, Morgan, I'm going to tell you what, man, honestly, a lot of people ask me, honestly, what my favorite track is, and obviously I tell them Talladega. I mean, just because it's in my backyard, more or less, but Homestead Miami Speedway, it's right up there with Talladega, because I've said it before on my podcast, the Door Banging Download on Spotify. I've said it outside of this room. Hell, I've said it on other broadcasts. This right here, this track right here that we're going to see here tonight, this is the place where NASCAR needs to end their seasons at, because this place is an absolute beaut of a track. There you see 18 to 20 degrees in the turns, 3 degrees on the backstretch, 1.5 miles. Folks, this sucker right here is wide. And what I mean by wide is there is multiple racing grooves here. You can run on the bottom, you can run on the top, you can run right smack dab in the middle. It has went through, I guess you could say, somewhat of a reconfiguration. Think back all the way back to the Winston Cup days. This place was not as banked as it is right now at 18 to 20 degrees in the turns. It was actually very, very flat. I guess you could say about as flat, maybe give or take, as the Milwaukee Miles, what it really looked like. It was just a half a mile longer. But this place, I'm telling you, these guys, what they're going to really be worried about here tonight, Morgan, is they're going to have to try to save their tires as much as they possibly can. We've talked about it in these Xfinity cars, how much power these cars has got, how heavy these cars has got. These tires, they're going to be slipping and sliding all over the place. Even though it is a night race, these guys still going to have their hands full with these cars here at Homestead.
That's right. In this track, the first on the NASCAR circuit to have progressive banking, meaning the bottom has less banking than the top. We will likely see the groove migrate all the way up high. And as Jake mentioned, one of the most abrasive surfaces that NASCAR sees at any point in the season. Let's move right along to our race analysis. 90 laps here tonight, 45 miles an hour on pit road. 3 tire sets. I think you're probably going to use all of them. 2 green-white checkers, just like last week at Indy, 100% fuel, and the iRacing fixed setup like we have every week in QSR. Let's look at the points a little bit. Daniel Mulnix leads the points with his 1 win. Dirk Likes is in second. McMurtry, Joyner, Cooper and myself, Brent Allen, Quentin Stewart, Petrin, Gates, and Ziegler are your top 10. And look ahead at the schedule while we have about 30 seconds left in until we start gridding. Homestead Miami this week and next week. Talladega, your favorite, Jake. Everyone's so excited for Talladega. It's a great race as always. Then the Rock, Richmond, Dover, and Auto Club before we start to chase the championship and see who we crown the champion this season. As we wait for the final seconds before gridding, it is time. Starting on the pole, Caleb Nelson in the 07, 32.61. Alongside him, Daniel Mulnix in the 2. Third will be Jared Ziegler in the 57, Antonio Biaggi in the 17. Fifth will be Trenton Wilkin in the 12, Galen Wunsch alongside in the 3rd row. 4th row made up of Ronnie Joyner in the 00, Marshall Newton in the 76, 7th and 8th respectively. 9th, Paul Ayala, hopefully, in the 95, Brent Allen in 10th tonight.
Absolutely. Kevin West is going to start in P11 right beside him. On the outside of row number 6 is going to be your buddy, our buddy. Screw it, our buddy right here, Bradley Cooper. Going to be rolling off here tonight for P12 in that number 5 car. Last week's winner at Indy. going to be C.J. Gates. Little number change. Had 14. Now he's going to run 6 this week. He's going to start at P13 with Randy Sally. He'll start at P14. Mike Petron's going to roll off P15. Austin Thomas starting at P16. Spencer Johnson is going to roll off P17. He's the last driver to take a qualifying time. The rest of these guys did not. That being Derek McMurtry is going to start in P18. And from what I'm seeing, looks like Tyler Giffen will start right behind him, as well as Ethan Wisniewski. Looks like that's the top 20.
21st with Joseph Terciano in the 11. Quentin Stewart did not take a time. He will start 22nd. 23rd, Frank Walsh in the 54. Steve McGough, 24th. And that is our entire field this evening. Bring it down trackside. There is our field. We do have a special announcement to start this thing off. Just bear with me while I get everything in order. Go ahead, Jake.
Absolutely. I mean, Morgan, you see the beautiful car right there, Brent Allen driving tonight in the number 13. Also, he wanted to try to get this featured on the broadcast, said it was going to be real awesome. His brother will be watching tonight. He flies out to Kuwait this week. It will be his final night watching live. Wants us to give a special shout out to Specialist Dupree and Bravo Company. Salute to you. Thank you very much, Bravo Company and Specialist Dupree, for your service here for the United States of America. And hopefully you will be coming home safe and sound. And hopefully Brett Allen can get you the win. Specialist Dupree is Morgan. Here we go, baby. Pace lights is out. We're getting ready to go racing. Yes, we are.
Pace car turns left. They roll into the initial start zone. Caleb Nelson on the pedal, and we are off at Homestead.
Caleb Nelson looks like he doesn't get the best jump in the world. Daniel Molnick's going to be around on the outside, but Nelson able to get down on the bottom side. But as you talked about, Morgan, that progressive banking up there between the middle and top. Molnick's trying to see if he can get the run. Got a couple of them slicing and dicing back here. Matter of fact, Brett Allen back here with Kevin West trying to get going. But Molnick's around the top side. He goes around Nelson, Ziegler, Bianchi, and Trenton Wilkin. That's the top 5 as everybody trying to give chase right now to Daniel Molnick's.
Just about 3 wide off of turn 4. The aforementioned Brent Allen peeking down there on Kevin West was not able to make that move work, but we have ourselves a battle for the 5th spot. Caution out already. Is that
big crash?
Oh no, the 48. Another tough break for Derek McMurtry. This guy just is struggling to not be involved in accidents. I hate that for him. Let's see if we can find out what happened.
Well, I mean, from what I saw, it all really started coming off of turn 4 right there with Mike Petrie in the 60. Kind of got tagged in the left rear. He kind of got stuck 3 wide. Sally up top, Thomas down on the bottom. And then, I mean, there you see the results of everything that really happened. But I think it was actually Thomas that didn't really get the memo, I guess you could say. Yes, actually, he just drove straight right through the back of the 60 before Mike Petrie. You see it again, once again on the instant replay. Sally up top. Thomas, he's going to get the run. Petrie trying to block that advance. But Thomas is able to get the run, and then he just backs out of it, and then bam, he just drives it straight into his left rear, sends him up the track. McMurtry's got nowhere to go. Walsh has got nowhere to go. Thomas ends up going around as well. So many drivers right there on lap 2 of this event. And Morgan, I mean, they don't get a faster pair, so basically their night's already over with before the damn thing really even got started.
I think I counted 6 drivers who were caught up in that accident. Just a simple miscommunication between 2 drivers going into turn 1. Takes out 6 potential race winners here tonight. And big damage to the 60 of Mike Petrin on the front, on the back. Spencer Johnson's feeling the same way. That's driving a modified. There's 4 modifieds in the Xfinity race. Wisniewski's one of them. Walsh, McMurtry, Spencer Johnson, the other driver involved. Yeah, just a tough break for all those drivers. And the one that got out of it the cleanest was the 20, who is still on the racetrack with no damage to speak of on that Ryan Blaney-esque machine. A little bit of right front damage, but Not enough to deter his momentum. That is caution number 1 of the event.
I mean, Morgan, I mean, that right there, I mean, a lot of drivers will look back on that, Morgan, me and you drivers, as well as Bradley Cooper. But I mean, if we're going, from my point of view, I mean, that sucks. I mean, if I gotta say so myself, it really sucks when you get caught up in a crash that was none of your doing at all. For Ethan Wisniewski, Derek McMurtry, Frank Walsh, those guys, they didn't even have anything to do with anything in that wreck right there. And then the guy that actually initiates the contact, initiates the caution, he ends up driving away more or less scot-free. I mean, he's got a little bit of right front damage, but still, he's out there running pace laps while everybody else is in there trying to fix the race cars, just by just a move that was just a little bit, I guess you could say, too aggressive, way too early. I mean, there were 3 wide back there on lap 2. Not really sure exactly what the 20s was thinking right there, but I mean, in my point of view, I would really hate it, especially for the guys that really didn't have anything to do with it. They were just wrong place, wrong time.
Yeah, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and just say that I don't think he expected that car in front of him to check up so early into the corner. We are pretty early on in this race. A lot of tire saving, like you mentioned in the opening. I really think all it is just 2 drivers kind of not communicating where not understanding where each other's lift points are, and obviously that caused an issue for a few other drivers in this field. But it happens. I mean, we've all been part of it. We've all been the sender. We've all been the receiver in those situations. It happens, and it sucks that it happens. But we're about to rack them up and go green one more time.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be interesting to see how all that ends up playing out. Hopefully, everybody that was involved is able to get back out there, but green flag in the air. Caleb Nelson, now he's going to get the jump that he was trying to get on the initial start. He's going to kick Monix. Actually, Monix is going to go back to 3rd. Ziegler down on the bottom, restarted in the third spot. He's going to go to 2nd. Right behind them, Bianchi back here. He's battling with Kevin West. West down on the bottom. Kevin West is going to go to 4th, kick Bianchi back to 5th. How about that for a little swapper out, if you want to put it that way? Marshall Newton way up top right in front of CJ Gates. Almost lost the handle, and Gates lost it right behind him.
Great save by the 6th. That should have been wadded up to the inside wall. He's going to lose 1 spot to Cooper into turn 1, but no harm, no foul for CJ Gates.
CJ Gates going to fight hard down on the bottom side. Bradley Cooper trying to work his way maybe around the top side, try to be able to get the run. Right behind him, Terciano, he's able to get the run. He's going to dive down to the bottom. Cooper going to go up top. Terciano down on the bottom of the racetrack. And now Terciano gets a little bit loose coming off the corner. Morgan, this is where you see a lot of guys get loose, especially coming off a 4. You don't usually see a whole lot of looseness really coming off a turn 2. It's really coming off a 4 that really upsets these cars, much less probably even upsets the drivers having to come off the corner, because that's usually where they really lose traction the most off of turn 4.
Yeah, this is one track I've never quite figured out. I'm loose everywhere, into the corner, off the corner. Big slide for Marshall. Goes into the corner, just about takes out Brent Allen. Made it stick somehow, and he gains 1 spot right there. But I've never understood how to drive this racetrack. I'm always way too free and usually wadded up on the outside wall somewhere.
Well, I mean, what you got to do really is you got to treat it like your girlfriend or your wife, to be honest with you, Morgan. You just got to take care of it, pretty much. That's all you can do. Treat her right, and she'll be good to you. That's exactly what you got to try to do here at Homestead. Right now, Galen Wunsch, he's trying to do the same exact thing, trying to find a way around CJ Gates. Gates all the way up to the top of the track, trying to get the run. Wunsch almost gets into his left rear. He's going to get into his left rear. A little bit of door banging as they come across the stripe. Wunsch gets into him. Wunsch tries to save it. Hell of a save, buddy, right there. That looked like World of Outlaws drift mode right there going into turn 1. And now he's going to get stuck 3 wide with Cooper, Thomas, and Terciano, all of them going around Wunsch.
And Gates had a great save, too. A little bit of wall contact in turn 2, but he keeps it pointed the right direction. Same thing might happen again here for Wunsch, as he is meat in the sandwich, so to speak. He's going to come out of turn 4 just fine, but he lost about 4 or 5 positions throughout that exchange.
Yeah, and he's probably going to lose another one right here to Trent Wilkin. Wilkin trying to work down here on the bottom of the track. As we slide back just a little bit, we see Randy Sally back here battling it out with Quentin Stewart back here. Both of these guys trying to battle it out. This is actually going for the 15th spot, which, folks, usually you see a lot of the hard racing really going on about the middle of the pack to more at the back end of the packs, usually where you see just some of the hard-nosed racing where guys is just literally gritting their teeth trying to get up and advance through all of the traffic. And that's what you're seeing right here on your screen with Quentin Stewart up here trying to get around Paul Ayala. And Ayala is actually running, which is the preferred line in my opinion, honestly, Morgan, to try to run that top side with that progressive banking, try to get the run. There you see Ayala able to get that run coming off of the corner and pull away from Quentin Stewart. But at that point, you're burning your tires up, and at the same time, you're literally out of control, really, especially right there coming off of turn 4. You're just out of control where you can just straight up lose the car. So at what point is Ayala end up burning his tires up there? Quentin down the bottom trying to save him. Now he's going to try to go 3 wide. Wunsch is dropping back in a hurry, son. Stuck straight in the middle. Stewart down the bottom. Ayala, he's going to try to get 3 right here. He's going to get Stewart, Wunsch, and he's going to try to get Thomas all in one lap.
Looks like he's going to get that high side run here off of turn 4. Still side by side with the 20, but he's going to prevail by the line, and a little more so by the time we get into turn number 1. The 95 is moving to the front in a hurry, and he gets in the wall a little bit right there. It's going to hurt the momentum.
I mean, when you end up getting in the wall, I mean, you're going to end up losing speed, obviously. And that is one of those things that is very, very characteristic here at Homestead, is guys trying to rip the wall. You'll hear that a lot. Drivers talk about that ripping the walls. Thomas almost ended up ripping the whole left side off of Paul Ayala right there for a second. He almost drifted straight up into him. It almost comes up into Randy Sally. Wow, I'm telling you, Morgan, I talked about just that grit, that hard-nosed racing back here in the back. These guys ain't giving an inch at all back here, and this is just outside the top 10. As you look at some of this battling going on up here with Brett Allen up there in the 13, he's trying to advance his position and try to move up through the field as well. There you see Kevin West trying to work over, what is that? I believe Ziegler, I believe it is. He's trying to work him over. So a lot of guys trying to work each other over. Look at all these guys just going to the bottom, going to the top, going wherever they can go. Actually, that was Bianchi that West is trying to work over. And he's running that Kyle Larson line all the way up on the top of the racetrack.
And that Kyle Larson line, while it is faster, you mentioned it burns tires. The other thing it does, you make a mistake, the wall is really close. It's very easy to hit that wall and scrub a lot of speed. The wall here is abrasive and it's like glue. You just really have trouble getting off of it. Whereas you run the bottom, a lot harder to hit the wall. You have to make a much bigger mistake, as we are big time crossing each other over here. That was Joyner, top to bottom on the 95.
Yeah, I mean, but, you bring it back to that point, obviously down on the bottom, much safer. Up on the top side, much more risky. But, Morgan, we've said it numerous times, with risk comes reward. And you got to risk it for the biscuit, as a good friend of mine, Dean Hopton, would say. You got to risk it for the biscuit up there on that top side and try to go. And that's what Bianchi is actually trying to do right now, is risk it. Get that momentum. Try to get up here. Get a hold of Daniel Modick, Ziegler, Nelson. Bianchi wanting to try to be one of those guys up here in the top 3, have a shot to win this race when it's all said and done. There you see it. Check it out right there on the gyro cam right there, folks. He's got that sucker pinned all the way up on the top side. He's able to get that run. He's starting to reel in Monix. Monix was on the bottom. Bianchi still working this top side, but it's like you said, Morgan, it's like I said, it's like everybody knows. At what point is he going to end up losing grip in them tires when he has them suckers heated up with all that momentum and all that speed?
You just watch his hands as he rolls through turn 1 and 2 here, how much he's sawing on the wheel, and he's really working this car. Big left-hand turn to get it off the wall as he brushes into it a little bit there, and then he's just trying his hardest to not lose it from there, and going to fall back into the clutches of Mr. West.
Yeah, I mean, Kevin West, he's really been running a more, I guess you could say, conservative line honestly, the top three guys, Nelson, Ziegler, and Molnix, all three of them have been running the conservative line. These guys, hell, they ain't got no line. As wow, Gates tries to jump up. Wow, big move, tried to jump up in front of Wilkin. Both of them about wrecked. They were all right there around Brett Allen. And I know Specialist Dupree's out there saying, Allen, get away from all of this. This is getting crazy. And they are getting all but sideways behind him. But Allen able to get away from each and every bit of it. As Gates and Wilkins still fighting hard back here. You got Joyner right behind them with Bradley Cooper. A lot of battling going on right here behind Brett Allen, which I guess you could say right here, Morgan, this is the hornet's nest back here because these guys, they're going each and every which way just to try to advance their position.
These are positions 8 through 11 in this race currently. 7 if you want to count Brett Allen. You can see that group of cars right there, and they are all working each other over, trying to get everything they can get out of it. I wouldn't think we're too far away from pit stops, maybe another 20 laps or so, so you want to set yourself up for that situation, but track position is going to be vital here tonight.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. I mean, you know, we talked about how many sets of tires that they actually have, folks. They've actually got 4, but they've got 3 to use in the pits. So they've actually got 4 sets. It's 1 on car, 3 in the pits, as you saw with the race analysis at the start of the race. So they got 3 in the pits that they can use. So I wouldn't be surprised to see some of them maybe go right here in the next 5 to 10 laps. And maybe try to split this sucker in 3s or 2s rather, and go at 30 and then go at 60 and then go at 90. Some of them may just say screw it and go all the way to 45, which is really what you can do. You really can go to 45 and be able to make it on one stop if you wanted to go that route. So, I mean, Morgan, we see it each and every week. Who's going to be that one guy that's going to try to stay out there and only go on one stop? Who's going to see that, or who's going to be that one person to say, you know what, I'm going to try 2 stops and see what happens. So be interesting when we get to lap 30, see who's going to duck in and who's going to make that call.
Yeah, we're going to find out here in the next 7 laps or so, but until then, let's do a quick through your field. Caleb Nelson, your leader, 21 laps he has led so far. Make that 22. The 07, Ziegler right behind him. The 57. Molnix right on the top side, the other driver to lead a lap tonight. He is in 3rd. Kevin West back there in 4th, driving that one machine up 7 spots already. Antonio Bianchi is in the 5th spot. Marshall Newton running 6th in that patriotic 76. Wilkin down there on the bottom, running 7th in the 12. Brent Down, we've talked about him quite a bit tonight. He is in the 8th spot. Bradley Cooper up 3 to 9th. And Ronnie Joyner rounds out your top 10 in the 00.
You got CJ Gates. He's sitting back there in the 11th spot, 2 spots up from where he started. Randy Sally, he's currently sitting in P12. Right behind him, 2 drivers that have dropped tremendously through the field. That being Galen Woods, who started the race in 6th. He's all the way back to 13th. And then right behind him, the 95, Paul Ayala. He started in 9th. Now he's all the way down to the 14th spot. Joseph Terciano, very, very quietly sitting back there from 20th up to 15th. Quentin Stewart, he's sitting in the 16th spot. Then Stephen McGow, way back here, but he's all by himself, but he's still, I guess you could say, away from the chaos right now, Morgan. Sitting back there in 17th spot. And Austin Thomas, back there in the 18th spot. He's the last driver on the lead lap.
Every other driver in this field caught up in that accident on lap 3. Mike Petrin, Spencer Johnson, Derek McMurtry, Ethan Wisnowski, and Frank Walsh have left the session. That is your field here at Homestead tonight.
We're starting to see a little bit of a battle. I guess you could say a lot of guys starting to move around now, especially up here inside this top 5, Morgan. You know, I just saw just a second ago Daniel Molnix starting to flirt with that outside wall, especially going into turn 1. Nobody really trying to get crazy as far as the top 5 goes. Down here on the bottom, or in 3 and 4, everybody trying to wrap the bottom. But I just saw a minute ago Molnix trying to flirt with that top side. We'll see if he does attempt to go with that one more time. He does not this time, but Bianchi, he's going to take it up to the top side, see if he can carry some momentum. But doesn't look like he's going to be able to get a whole lot. It's now the front 4 really right now, Nelson, Ziegler, Monix, and West, they're trying to separate themselves from Bianchi. Bianchi's still trying to latch on to them, and they're all pulling away from Wilkin, Newton, Allen, Cooper, and Joyner. That is the rest of the top 10.
And we're starting to see the cream rise to the top here before pit stops. Obviously, that top 4 has separated themselves, and you got that lone car of Bianchi in the middle, and then a big wad of cars back here from the 12 all the way through back to Ronnie Joyner. Everyone's single file, just biding their time, except for Galen Wunsch, side by side with CJ Gates. And Sally actually having a great run. Gained a lot of spots here from when we last saw him, up into the 13th position.
Yeah, I mean, Morgan, he's doing a fantastic job being able to try to advance as much as he can. There you see Wunsch able to get by CJ Gates. Folks, remember, CJ Gates won last week at Indianapolis. It was the legacy version, I guess you could say. Very, very awesome race that we witnessed last week, and very, very awesome race we're seeing right now. Hell, they're going back here for 11th spot. Why not? Let's go 3 wide into turn 3. Gates right in the middle. Wunsch up top. Sally down on the bottom side. Who's going to advance at this point? It looks like Wunsch is going to be able to get it by a nose. Gates was in the middle. He's going to slide back, but now try to use the draft off of Wunsch to try to find his way around Sally. So even though this back here is for the 11th spot, these guys don't care. These guys are sending it at all costs because, Morgan, you know as well as I do, those points that we're going to pay out, I guess you could say, at the end of the race and then here in a couple of weeks, a chase is going to happen. You got to make sure that you're in the chase area to be able to get yourself in for a championship. And it doesn't matter really, how you get there. It's just, do you get there? That's the point. It doesn't matter how you get there. You just want to make sure you get there.
They don't ask how, they ask how many. Isn't that right, Jake?
Yes.
Same thing can be applied to points and finishes and all that stuff. It doesn't matter how you finish, where you finish, just as long as you get there. And yeah, there's Malnick's up on the top side trying to see if he can find a little something up there. West has caught up to this group as Caleb Nelson continues to lead. I believe that's lap number 30. The 07 has been out front, 31 in fact, as I would expect. Terciano on pit road right now. There he is. So is Austin Thomas, pitted a little bit early. And the 95 as well, though that was a pretty long stop. Not sure what happened to the 95, but he's still wicked loose. Look at him go.
That's cold tires for you right there, Morgan. He's just trying to find the grip in that race car. And then obviously there you see Brett Allen in the 13. Looks like he's going to try to make it in. He's going to hit the barrels going into the pits. Right behind him, Quentin Stewart. Hell, he's trying to get it locked down, trying to see if he can make it. Spencer Johnson trying to lock it down. Hell, he's driving a modified back there with no front bumper on it. But Allen slams the barrels going into the pits. Quentin Stewart, hell, he almost slammed them as well. Very, very tricky pit road right here, much like what we had a couple of weeks ago at Darlington, Morgan. Very, very tricky pit road. The only difference is the pit road's not as crazy, I guess you could say, trying to get on. But this abrasive track surface is much like Darlington is. So when you try to lock it down, you try to get on pit road, it's about the same, I guess you could say, grip level that you would have like Darlington was.
And unfortunately, as we say in the biz, that is a day ender for the 13. He's probably going to go many laps down there. With that heavy damage, we still got a battle here for the 4th and 3rd position. As these leaders are trying to play chicken with each other. Who's going to pit first? Who's going to pit last? What do? Do you run it to halfway? Oh, Mullock's in the wall.
I mean, what I'm thinking you probably got to go at the halfway mark. That's exactly what I would do. And, that's exactly what I would do. And then you think about it right there. You got Nelson, you got Ziegler, Molnix. Well, now West and Molnix, all of them right here sitting in the top 5 or top 4 rather. And then right in the middle of them, you got Austin Thomas right there in the number 20 as he just went around Ziegler. So these guys got to be able to try to maneuver themselves around a lap car but they can't worry about him. They got to worry about their own race. And Molnix losing a little bit right there. Just slid up into the wall and just basically had nothing for Kevin West. He tried to side draft him, tried to pull him back. I saw that going into turn 3, but West just had so much of a run, and Molnix just slowed down so much after hitting the wall that there was nothing that he could do. So Kevin West goes to 3rd. Molnix kicks back to the 4th spot. And Wilkin, damn, I mean, he's about at least 2 seconds, I guess you could say, back to Daniel Molnix. Wilkin sitting in the 5th spot.
And as you can see at the top of your screen, you don't have to worry too much about the 20 being in the way, as with those new tires, he is much faster. He's went up and passed the top 4 on his own. That's how much fresh tires are worth. He's running 33.7s, leaders 34.3. Should tell you just how good those new tires are.
Absolutely. I mean, we talked about the abrasive track surface and, just how rough it is. I mean, there you see the seam cut all the way down the middle, but Morgan, we talked about, well, actually, we didn't really talk about this, but, I mean, you brought this up. When we was going down the grid, you sounded like you was a little bit surprised, I guess you could say, that Caleb Nelson was up there on the pole. To me, honestly, I mean, hell, I was surprised myself because we haven't heard a lot from Caleb Nelson this season. We haven't really heard a whole lot from him. Being up here, running up here in the front area as far as races goes and everything. So kind of shocker, I guess you could say. A little bit of a shocker, I guess you could say, to see Caleb Nelson sitting up here, running up front and keeping it up front as good as he's doing.
Also a shocker, I think, the 2. Molnix just caught the wall off of turn number 4. He's going to lose a couple spots back behind Cooper. Yeah, back to Caleb Nelson. I mean, nothing against the guy at all. He hasn't shown this type of speed anywhere all season. And here he is, flat out dominating at Homestead Miami. He has led, I think now we're at 39 of 40 laps. The only other driver to lead was Molnix for 1. So that should tell you everything you need to know about how fast this 07 has been. I believe Gates is on pit road.
Well, I mean, and I'm looking back at some of Caleb Nelson's stats, and to be honest with you, he hasn't ran a whole lot this season. I mean, coming into tonight, I believe this is his 4th or 5th start, that being Caleb Nelson in that 07. But still, hasn't got a win. Looks like it probably could happen tonight, or depending on how everything goes. Molnix actually going down pit road right now. So Molnix going to elect to go down at lap 41. This is right there pretty close in that area, Morgan, what I was talking about trying to split it right down the middle. You could go at 45, or you could try to leapfrog it and end up going right about this time that Molnix is doing right here. So maybe what he's trying to do is he's trying to play off Kevin West, Ziegler, and Nelson, and maybe try to leapfrog them right here, get some extra speed, get some extra tires, obviously, and send it back out there, because he'll be able to make it all the way to the end on just this one stop right here. He'll be able to make it all the way in. He won't have to pit again. So this is the leapfrog maneuver that we're seeing right here.
And Marshall Newton, how about, also on pit road. One thing, too, to remember about Molnix is that he had fallen back quite a bit right at the end of that run. Probably burned the tires off and needed a little bit of help, and nothing better than 4 fresh Goodyears. If you can make it all the way to the end, that might be the move that sets you apart from the field. Just has to be careful now to play a little bit of defense when the new tires catch up to him. We'll see what kind of split that is on the tires when everyone cycles out. But got to remember, too, Joseph Terciano and Quentin Stewart, right there, they just passed Marshall Newton, who just pitted. They pitted 10 laps ago, so they are on a different strategy. They're going to lap 60, and then they're going to pit again. So a couple different strategies playing out here at Homestead.
Yeah, I mean, Quentin Stewart and Terciano, there's no way that they're going to be able to make it all the way to the end with how they have their strategy right here, Morgan. They're going to have to at least pit one more time. Molnix, on the other hand, he's on that different strategy. Like I said, he's going to be able to make it all the way to the end. So I don't really think Molnix is too worried, I guess you could say, about Terciano and Stewart. The only thing that I think he would be more worried about, to be honest with you, is if, say, a caution was to come out right here, and then Quentin Stewart would be able to get the lucky dog, and that would just really shake everything up. So I think that's what Molnix is really hoping for, is a caution doesn't come out, at least till he passes them.
Leader on pit road, Caleb Nelson brings it to the attention of his crew. I think that's Ziegler, maybe not behind him. Thought that was Ziegler. I just saw somebody else come to pit road, just missed who it was. Here we go into the first pit stall. Get 4 tires and fuel.
Randy Sally.
Randy Sally comes
Randy
to pit
Sally.
road. There we go,
Yes,
ninth
yes.
position. Good
Yes,
catch.
Randy Sally. And he slid through his box at the same time. Here we go, Ziegler. Kevin West. Your leaders, both of them going to jump down pit road. Wilkins going to stay out. So Wilkin going to try to lead him a lap, get him some bonus points right here. I think Bianchi was thinking about maybe trying to stay out.
Oh,
right
no.
There. Hopefully Wilkin win as
Ziegler left out of his box.
Wow.
Oh, geez, that was close. Ziegler had contact down pit road with, I don't remember who that was. Mago, possibly? It was the 83. I thought that was going to keep the 57 from hitting his pit stall, but that's going to cost him a few seconds, probably. Tough break there. Just pitting it at the exact wrong time was the 57.
Yeah, that's unfortunate right there, because, I mean, you get in them types of situations, folks, and, you know, there's a lot of drivers out there, a lot of people out there, excuse me, that's going to sit there and look at it and go, well, you know, it shouldn't matter. It's just like NASCAR Heat on the PlayStation. I mean, the computer drives when they go down pit road. No, it is not. You got to literally drive yourself going down pit road. You got to be able to drive and go into your box. You got to worry about not running anybody over. You got to worry about all of that good stuff. So, very, very, I guess you can say you got to be very, very aware when you're going down pit road, Morgan, and make sure that you don't end up hitting somebody or they hitting you. You still got to be able to keep the mentality of knowing what's around you. You got to be aware of your surroundings, especially when you're on pit road, just like you are out on the racetrack.
That's right. And something happened to the 199 of Galen Wunsch. Was not able to find that on the replay, but the 199 is now 17th off the racing surface, 2 laps down at the moment. There's Sally coming back, and he wadded that thing up pretty good. That might have been what happened to the 199. We might have to go back and find that here, because that 00 is in trouble. Behind him, the other 00, Ronnie Joyner, going to bring it to pit road for the first time tonight.
Yeah, and I'm looking right now. I'm trying to find exactly what happened to the 199 of Galen Wunsch. It looked like he just pulled into his pits box and basically just said, nope, I'm done with it. I mean, he just parked it and just got out from what I saw right there. But there you see Trent Wilkin. Trent Wilkin, he's going down pit road right here. The Wilkin blinking a little bit going down pit road as well. Joyner just now coming off of pit road. And Caleb Nelson trying to work his way around right here, see if he can run down Wilkin. Obviously, Wilkin on the pit road. So that's going to hand the lead back over to the 07, that being Caleb Nelson.
And the gap to second place now is 4 seconds. 3.5 seconds there. Nelson to Ziegler. So that's a pretty big gap that was built through this pit cycle. The difference, Nelson pit 1 lap early. And that gave him a decent jump over the 57, the 1, and the 2, who has made his way back into the conversation, although he is 6.3 back of the leader.
Well, I mean, Morgan, I mean, that's what you get here. That's what you get here at Homestead. I mean, you get drivers on these different types of strategies. You got to try to do like Caleb Nelson did. I mean, he hit his pit stop absolutely perfect. He hit that sucker spot on, 9-way sunny, didn't speed, got right on pit road at the right time, was able to get off of pit road, which, mind you, on this, Morgan, you got to be able to keep it on the bottom of the racetrack. You can't just blend up on the racetrack. There's an access road that's down there on the apron. If you don't end up hitting that access road, you're going to end up driving through the grass. So you got to be able to stay on that access road, gas it up, not let the back end come around, don't lose the car. Then you got to come off of turn 2, hit the commitment line, and gas up and go. So a lot of factors that played in right there for Caleb Nelson to be able to jump out to this huge lead that you see over Jared Ziegler, Kevin West, and Daniel Molnix. And Caleb Nelson, he hit it absolutely perfect.
We're going to have to see a few other drivers come down pit road right away. Quentin Stewart, Joseph Terciano. The 95 is another one, as well as Derek McMurtry, who's got damage. Petrin also who has damage. They're going to have to come down pit road at least one more time for fuel. And that will probably shake up how this running order looks at the moment. But they're going to have those brand new fresh tires for the last 30 laps or so of this race. Will completely change the dynamic. We're just not quite there yet.
I mean, yeah, I mean, they may end up getting a couple of spots, but I mean, I don't really think, you know, those drivers that you talked about, I really don't think they're going to get out there and they're going to set the world on fire. That being Quentin Stewart and Joseph Terciano, Molnix and a couple of those other drivers, they're multiple laps down. So it's going to be very, very hard for them to be able to try to get back in this. But they'll be able to get a couple of spots. They ain't going to be able to get a whole lot. Trent Wilkin, he's pretty much on sin mode right now. He's just trying to get by as many cars as he possibly can. He's got it all the way up into the 10th spot. He's going to be looking at Terciano, and which I think is going to be obviously pretty easy, considering Terciano's going to have to make a pit stop, and Quentin Stewart sitting up there in the 6th spot. That'll be a spot for Wilkins. So Wilkins sitting in 10th, about guaranteed to get 8th out of this thing if he can just bring it home in one piece.
That's a lot easier said than done, keeping it in one piece at a racetrack like Homestead. We've seen drivers up in the fence. We obviously saw that issue earlier in the race with the miscommunication between the 20 and I believe it was the 60. Caused our first caution of the day, but it's been smooth sailing so far. Caleb Nelson in the the 07, how about? Say 007. That's not quite right. Close, but not quite.
Yeah, we got James Bond out there on the track, I guess, Morgan, because he's literally been James Bond, I guess you could say, undercover, sliding up under the radar and just coming out here and putting a whooping on these boys out here from the QSR Xfinity Series. He's done a fantastic job here tonight, but Jared Ziegler has kind of crept in just a little bit. He had it at 3 seconds a while ago. He's got down to 2.5 seconds. He's still got plenty of time to be able to try to reel him in. Still got over 30 laps to go. And mind you, who knows what could happen at this point. I mean, we may end up getting a caution and then we could burn through both the green-white checkers like we did last week at Indy. So this race is not over with, not by a long shot right here, Morgan. Anything can happen. It's like Newton's law. Anything can happen. Can and will happen. It probably will happen if that's how it ends up going. But Ziegler, he's keeping it right there at about 2.5 seconds. There you see Molnix not really making up a whole lot of ground to be able to get to Nelson, Ziegler, and West. But sitting right there in the 4th spot, your point leader coming into the night, Marshall Newton, pretty good drive for him. Haven't talked a whole lot about that 76, comfortably sitting in the 5th spot. Got about a second and a half over Bradley Cooper sitting back in 6th.
There is the Vspeed number 5 right there, running P6, up 6 spots from his 12th place starting position. Just a solid night for Mr. Cooper. I'd love to take a physics lesson from you. I think that would just be fascinating, talking about Newton's laws and all that fun stuff. But Trenton Wilkin there is in the 7th position. CJ Gates running an 8th way on the outside. Look at him go. Antonio Bianchi back to 9th, and Joyner is in 10th.
I mean, you know, I'm just, you know, so pumped up, honestly, about CJ Gates, you know, because Morgan, we heard his post-race interview last week, as you'll see in the running order down on your screen. Quentin Stewart, Terciano now going to make that pit stop now. But, I mean, CJ Gates, we talked about him last week, you know, getting the win, very emotional win. I guess you could say it was like an underdog win, Morgan. And believe it or not, wins can really change a season, even if it's just right there in the middle of the regular season going in the playoffs. Because we know CJ Gates, he's going to the playoffs. He's going to be chasing a championship later on this season. But now we see him up here. He's gained 5 spots from his initial start and comfortably sitting right now in the 8th spot. Basically, just just taking it as it goes at this point. It's just basically just riding the momentum, Morgan, which is what you're going to see a lot of drivers try to do this season, is try to ride the momentum that they have to be able to try to ride it all the way into the chase and then see how far that momentum takes us. But, I mean, I'm not surprised right here to see CJ Gates comfortably sitting up here inside the top 10, especially after the win last week at Indianapolis. I'm not surprised one bit to see that momentum carry over to Homestead here tonight.
They did a great job last week in Indianapolis, went out and won that race, obviously. And yeah, momentum comes in all shapes and forms, and he's got a big old piece of momentum right now. Gonna try and carry it all the way throughout the regular season and into the playoffs, perhaps, as we are on the right side of the column when it comes to the schedule. We've only got a few races left until we get down to the nitty-gritty and decide a champion. But at this particular moment, Ziegler and West fighting it out as they fall back a little bit. They were down to 2 seconds. It's now 2.3 and 2.5 respectively. But Ziegler and West going at it for second spot.
Yeah, they're doing a pretty good job, at least trying to put on a show after Caleb Nelson, no offense to him, kind of stunk up the lead, I guess, for the race here tonight. No offense to Caleb. But both of these guys obviously putting on a show. Think about Kevin West last week, finished second. And then Jared Ziegler looked like he kind of somewhat had it in hand. Actually, Kevin West, to a certain extent. Hell, he had the race in hand till the cautions started flying, and then ended up putting him at a bad spot, and he ended up having to settle for second. Ziegler, on the other hand, he had a good shot to possibly win the whole race, and then just unfortunately did not work out for him. As you see some three-wide racing going on back here in the back. There you see Monix, Newton, Wilkin on a hard charge right now. Getting up here with Newton, getting up here with Monix. Newton up on the top side, Monix up on the top side, Wilkin trying to run them all down, and then right up there in front of them, Bradley Cooper has started to creep up here, and he has grabbed the 4th spot away from all of these guys and able to get up here. And big time moving going on right now as Monix still trying to carry the outside, but Wilkin able to get the run down on the bottom.
We're going to see them go side by side and fan out here into turn number 3. Got the 2 on the top, 12 on the bottom. You can see the gap in the center of the corner. It's going to close down on the straightaway here as the 2 gets the big run off the top side. Maybe close it into a few car lengths. That is Daniel Molnix. Here you can see it. That's what it looks like running the top, just how close he is to that outside wall. We're talking inches from disaster right now.
Yeah, I mean, you just slip just a little bit right there, you know, where Monix is. I mean, you slip, you blink, you try to reach over and grab your mirror. I mean, anything that happens right there, you can just straight up throw it right up into the fence. You got to be precise with your movements, precise with wheel movement, your throttle, your brake. You got to be precise as all get out. You got to block out everything. Got to block out the cars, block out everything, even block out your spotter at that point. And just run your line and be as perfect as you possibly can. Because like you talked about, Morgan, that one little slip, it can cost you. And I'm going to tell you right now, one driver that may be slipping up there, I think that's Caleb Nelson, because that 2.5 seconds has turned into 2 seconds. We're coming in on 20 laps to go. Kevin West may have something to say about the race here tonight at Homestead. He is reeling in our leader.
Here it is from the roof of the 1. You can see the gap in the bottom right of your screen, and it is staying constant right now, but it'll go down as soon as we get into the corner. He's running the top. Nelson's running the bottom. You can just see the momentum change as they get to the exit of the corner. There it is. If I kept talking long enough, it would do what I was saying. Now it's back down to 2 seconds. Great run off of the top side. That was a 10th and a half. West was able to gain in that corner, and it's going to take, you know, inching in little by little. There's only 20 laps to go. It's got to be a 10th a lap, or else it's no shot for the 1.
Yeah, I mean, but he's putting up a hell of a fight, honestly, to be able to try to get there. Honestly, Morgan, I mean, he's really the fastest car on the track. I guess you could say, unless you're thinking about maybe this man right here, Trent Wilkin, taking a shot at Bradley Cooper down on the bottom side. Which, matter of fact, actually, Wilkin was the fastest driver by my timing and scoring, he was the fastest driver on the track that last time by. He was only driving really to hit a 33. Now he hits a 34.0 just trying to get around Bradley Cooper. So take Wilkin up to the 4th spot, kick Bradley Cooper, which shout out to Bradley Cooper. I mean, awesome drive by Bradley and you, matter of fact, both of you, because, I mean, you think about it like this. One week you're in the booth, one week you're on the track, one week you're in the booth, one week you're in the track. It would completely throw me for a damn curveball each and every time if I had to do something like it. Well, I really do that with another league, but I mean, it would throw me for a curveball, especially with these guys.
And these are some very talented drivers out here. I know this firsthand as I routinely crash in front of them and all that fun stuff on a bi-weekly basis. But no, it was a good run for us last week. Finished 4th, and obviously didn't make many friends along the way, and we'll get into that later. But yeah, good run here, and yeah, Caleb Nelson is putting it on him tonight.
Yeah, I mean, he really is right now, and I mean, I think he might have actually turned it up just a little bit. As you actually see right there, Kevin West has actually got it down to 1.8, but that's not enough. That's not enough, Morgan. From what we're seeing right here, it looks like basically Caleb Nelson's just got to keep doing what he's doing, and it looks like he's probably going to have enough to go ahead and clinch this sucker, unless somehow or another somebody ends up throwing a flag. And, if that happens, this race is pretty much over with at this point, because now he's got it back out to 1.9. He had it down to 1.8, West did. Now it's kicked back up to 1.9, so it's kind of stabled out. So West has kind of turned on the afterburners, I guess you could say. He's trying to close this sucker out.
And West is faster, but it's only about half a tenth faster, and he needs a lot more than that with 20 laps to go if he's going to get where he wants to be. And we got a battle here. Got Cooper and a couple of lap cars not having a great time right now, fighting Petrin, who is multiple laps down, 32 laps down, in fact. Hanging right on the door of the 5. Not going to show Bradley's camera. It's probably not safe for the viewers at home.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of hate to see that, I guess you could say a little bit, but now we're actually starting to see Petrin pull away. So obviously Petrin on fresher tires than Bradley Cooper was right there. I think that was just a bad spot, really, that Bradley was just kind of got himself put in, not of his doing, because I think Sally was actually coming off a pit road. Petrin was trying to get the advance and try to get the run to go around him. And then they just unfortunately stuck Cooper right in the middle, 3 wide. And Cooper was just trying to get out of it. He didn't want to get in the middle of it because he's still trying to chase down Wilkin. All right, after Wilkins got around him. He's trying to stay in front of Newton, who's about a second back, give or take. So Cooper's got a lot on his mind. He's got a lot going on in front of him. As there you see Petrin, the lap down machine going around Wilkin now. And you hate to see that right there, especially for Petrin and even McMurtry, all these drivers that got caught up in that lap 2 accident, because you sit there and you wonder, what might have been with the race, because I understand, drivers will understand if they get wrecked out, say maybe about halfway through it or maybe 10 laps to go. Yeah, it stings a little bit, but I think it stings a little bit worse when you get wrecked out on lap 2 of a 90 lap race, because then you got the whole race to sit there and wonder, damn, what could have been at that point. You just hate to see that for some of those drivers.
Look at your top 3 from the bubble cam at the bottom of turn 1 and 2. Nelson has put a lap car in between him and Kevin West, as well as 2 seconds. Down to 13 laps to go. As long as that 07 looks forward, not out the rear windshield, I think he'll be all right. Might be able to go out here and stamp his name in the QSR books.
Yeah, Morgan, I looked at the stats, I looked at the points and everything. Nelson does not have a win to his name this season. So looks like if he can keep it clean and the field can keep it clean at least for another give or take 11 laps coming this time around, then that's exactly what Nelson's going to do. He's going to write his name in the win column for the QSR Xfinity Series. Should be able to put himself in the playoffs. And Kevin West, I mean, he's kind of slipped back just a little bit. There you see Monix back here. He's slipping back. Hell, Ronnie Joyner looks like he's going to try to slide up here and maybe get him some with his teammate right here, Daniel Monix, which is, I guess you could say it's kind of weird if you think about it, Morgan, because we've seen Ronnie Joyner and Daniel Monix, two of the big dogs, I guess you could say, for the QSR Xfinity Series. Wow, I mean, Joyner's usually the one that's the best on the short run. Monix is usually the one that's the best on the long run. Now it's starting to look like Joyner's actually starting to reel in Monix right here. Maybe something's actually kind of flipped over there at Venom Motorsports between Monix and Joyner, because Joyner is starting to reel in Daniel Monix for that 7th spot.
But the weirdest thing about that is the last thing you just said. This is for the 7th position as Mullins is up in the outside wall. Neither of these drivers have had a great showing tonight, which is just so out of the ordinary. We're used to seeing these guys 1-2 or 2-3 or something like that, like we had at Kansas and Vegas earlier this year. Here at Homestead, another mile and a half, we're seeing them struggle quite a bit here, running back half the top 10.
Well, I mean, but Morgan, I mean, this is not, I guess you could say, your typical mile and a half. I mean, it's something like Kansas, if you want to put it that way, because of the all the racing grooves that you got. You know, because we talked about Kansas when we was at Kansas. Obviously, you had the bottom, the middle, the top is Monix going back up into the fence once again. So Joyner's going to advance, and Joyner's going to go to 7th. But this track is, I guess you could say, it's its own animal. Talked about the progressive banking. It progressively gets steeper as you go up to the top of the racetrack. It's a very, very unique track. Basically a driver's track. And it's like I said, you know, before we went green here tonight, Morgan, this is why a lot of fans, a lot of drivers, a lot of fans and drivers would love to see this as the finale for NASCAR season here at Homestead, which is where it should be, which is where it was for quite some time. And I still think that it should be back here at this track to this day.
Yeah, give drivers options, give the best drivers, in fact, the ability to move around and find where their car works. Obviously, Phoenix, being the track that you're referring to, does not have that ability. The current championship hosting race, you kind of got one line, and you can try and do some crazy things in turn 1 and 2. It doesn't always work, but here at this racetrack, there are a number of grooves to work with, and yeah, the drivers love it.
Yeah, they absolutely do. And folks, if you want to hear any, I guess you could say, opinions on what I really think about that, go over to Spotify and listen later this week on the Door Banging Download. I got a feeling that one's going to be a very good conversation that I'm going to end up talking about, because I got a feeling it's going to be brought up on the podcast this week. But there you see, now Ziegler. He's kind of reeled back in Kevin West. West was able to jump around Ziegler and be able to jump up there and get the 2nd spot. Caleb Nelson, he's in his own area code at this point. Ziegler up here trying to see if he can grab 2nd, but West able to get that momentum and carry it off the top of the corner. 5 laps to go, but Ziegler, he's not giving up. Ziegler wants to get this 2nd spot from Kevin West up on the top side. Ziegler has a nose. He is clear, but just for a little bit now. West able to get back to the outside. Side by side, West Ziegler going into 3.
Drag race into turn 3. The 57 goes down to the bottom. The one up on the top side. One's got the momentum. We'll see if he can squirt the throttle in the middle of the corner. Self-clear. Got him. Crossover. One to the bottom.
Woo, boy. I'm telling you, Ziegler, honestly, Morgan, I don't think he was wanting to go up right there. I just think Ziegler just lost the back end of the car and just slid right up in front of Kevin West. And West, I mean, he timed that sucker absolutely perfect right there to almost not run over Ziegler. And Ziegler was coming up, like I said, whether he wanted to or not. West came down and got down on the bottom of the track. And then 1 and 2, West gets loose. Ziegler able to power back on the outside, like you said, squirt the throttle if you want to put it that way, and fire around on the outside and be able to take 2nd place. But I mean, pretty much it's just a battle for 2nd at this point, because Caleb Nelson, with 3 laps to go, He's long gone at this point.
And you can barely see those dots way back there coming off of turn 2. That's how far ahead the 07 is. 3.2 seconds into turn 3 around the lap car of Sally. Yeah, as long as everything goes according to plan for the 07 here, these last coming to 2 laps to go, it'll be a happy night wherever Caleb Nelson is.
Yeah, I mean, Caleb Nelson, I mean, he's put on a hell of a show. We haven't talked a whole lot about him, folks, because there ain't been a whole lot going on around Caleb Nelson. There you see right there, late 81 laps. All he's wanting to try to do is lead 83 laps, and if he leads 83, he's got this sucker in the bag, and he'll be able to get him a win here tonight at Homestead. Sends it into turn 3, looking pretty good, coming around for that white flag this time, Morgan.
1 lap to go for the 07. Caleb Nelson going to put his stamp on what has been a dominating effort tonight at Homestead. Watch this car glide into turn number 1. Sticks to bottom, not much of an issue there. Battle for second has dissipated. It's 8/10 between Ziegler and West. Not much else to speak of. I think Wilkin actually might have just had an issue. We'll go back to that after the checker, as Caleb Nelson is going to roll into turn number 3. Wilkin is back. It was just a blinking issue, but out of turn 4. Caleb Nelson is going to win at Homestead.
And in dominating fashion, got 83 laps, 82 laps, 83 now it clicks over. Caleb Nelson gets the win here tonight, dominating fashion. Jared Ziegler, he's going to end up getting second. West, Wilkin, Cooper, that is the top 5 as Cooper just now went across the line. Wow, dominating fashion right there. Caleb Nelson gets the win. Morgan, I got a feeling Quentin and all of them, all the admins, I guess you could say, for QSR Xfinity Series, I got a feeling they were probably wanting to run that sucker through tech with a fine comb when he gets through doing these burnouts.
Yeah, I might have a little too much downforce on that 07. Obviously, we're just joking. That thing was bad fast tonight. Led the most laps, started on the pole, won the race. What more can you ask for? For your winner, Caleb Nelson. Watch them do a few burnouts, and we'll be back right after this. Some commercial breaks. Back with your final results and an interview of that man right there, as well as Jared Ziegler and Kevin West. Stay tuned. You have been watching QSR Simulations. The Hensley Forklift Parts and Services 135. Back in a few minutes.
And here comes Milo, big run out of 4. He's going to be there.
Tristan Martin's there. Cannot count out for 37.
Oh!
The Milo gets burned!
Cabot, where did he come from? Here comes
Swag.
Swag.
A punch from the 33.
It's a drag race.
The Magic Man wins it Auto Club.
Welcome back, everybody. Here at Homestead Miami Speedway, you just witnessed a great and dominating performance by the one they call Caleb Nelson in the 07. Started on pole, went the most laps, won the race. One caution here tonight, very early on. I think lap 2. That caution was green flag for the rest of the event. 4 lead changes. Ziegler came home in second. West finished third. Wilkin and Cooper round out your top five. Great run for Cooper, up 7 spots from where he started. He would be second biggest move behind Kevin West. Marshall Newton, good run for the 76. He finished in the 6th position. Ronnie Joyner, right where he started, in 7th. Bianchi down 4 to 8th. Mulnix down 7. Uncharacteristic night for the 2. He finished 9th. And CJ Gates, last week's winner, he finishes in the 10th position.
Rest of these drivers finished one lap down or more. Stephen McGowan will end up finishing 11th, but still a good drive for him. 23rd, worked his way all the way up to 11th. It's a good drive by the number 83. Joseph Terciano with that two-stop strategy. It's going to bring it home P12 after starting P20. Paul Ayala is going to end up finishing 13th. Austin Thomas going to end up finishing 14th. Whit Stewart will get 15th. Brandon Sally finishing in 16th. Mike Beecham will get 17th. Gavin Watch, who started in the 6th spot, going to end up finishing 18th here this evening. Garrett McMurtry will end up finishing 19th. And Brett Allen, hate to say it for Specialist Dupree, he's going to finish 20th here this evening.
21st was Johnson in the 29 with Noski caught up in that first lap accident. He finished 88 down in 22nd. Frank Walsh right there with the 15. He was 89 down in 23rd. And Giffen finished in 24th. Did not grid this evening. And that is a look at how this race played out from a standings perspective. But let's get down trackside and let's have a chat with your top 3. First off, I have caught up with Kevin West. Let's get him up in the booth here. Maybe not. I don't have a Kevin West in the Discord, so maybe no conversation with the driver of the 1. Give him a few more seconds here to make himself appear. And if not, we will move on to talk to Jared Ziegler. Going once, going twice. Interview declined for Kevin West. Let's move on. Jared Ziegler finished in 2nd tonight, and the redneck announcer is standing by.
Absolutely. We got Jared Ziegler up here. Jared, I mean, just fantastic run here tonight at Homestead. Tell us about it, buddy.
Oh, it was a blast. I love this place. It was really weird. We were able to run the wall today. That's not usually the case. So a lot of different grooves you can kind of run, and I don't know. It was fun. I wish I could have had a little bit better. I think I had something for Caleb. If the roles were flipped, I think I would have been able to stay ahead of him. Late in the race, I was chasing him down, and then when Kevin got by me, I scraped the wall trying to run the wall, and lost a lot of time. But Kevin and I's battle was so much fun those last 15 laps. I was like a second and a half behind him trying to chase him down, and I didn't think I was gonna get there. So that was a pleasant surprise getting there and actually being able to make the pass. Especially out of 4, we got super close to wrecking out of 4. I think he scraped my entire back bumper when I slide jobbed him. So
Yeah, I mean, Jared. Honestly, I think you had it. Yeah, I think you still got a bumper, but I got a little bit of it left over. We went over and picked it up off of turn 4, so we'll send it back to you here in just a little bit. But Jared, I mean, I talked about it on the broadcast. I talked about um, just how much this place right here is a driver's track, and how I feel like, in my personal opinion, that this track needs to be the finale for NASCAR. I just was just curious. Do you agree with that statement? Do you think NASCAR should really finish their season here at Homestead? I mean, are you on the fence with me, or are you with those other people that like Phoenix?
So here's the thing. I love Homestead, and in real life, I think Homestead would be the better choice. But Phoenix is probably my best racetrack. So if I'm ever in a league, I want Phoenix to be the championship finale because I know that is the track I'm gonna circle on my calendar and be like, that's the one I know I can go out there and just dominate the race and win it. Homestead, I feel like I'm pretty good at, but there's still improvement to be made. Clearly, Caleb beat me pretty convincingly today. So, but I feel like real life, definitely Homestead, multiple lanes. It's going to be the best racetrack, especially with how the next gen is driven on mile and a halves lately. So, I wish that they renewed it, but I think they just renewed Phoenix for next season as the finale as well. So hope 2026, hopefully.
So it sounded like you went with Homestead and then you went with Phoenix. We'll just put it to you like this. I guess you're gonna be right there on the fence, I guess, with that one, Jared.
If
But
if I'm racing the
Jared,
car, I want it in Phoenix. If I'm not
there
racing
you
the
go.
car, Homestead's a better show. There you go.
There you go. You heard it from Jared Ziegler. And Jared, before we let you go, you got any sponsors, any shout outs you want to thank for making this possible?
Oh, I'm gonna thank all my teammates. Caleb Nelson, congratulations on the win. Him and I practiced uh, multiple different runs and lanes in practice, and was sharing notes off of each other. So I think I shared a little bit too much with him tonight. But congratulations to him. It was well deserved. His first win of the season. He had a few rough races, especially getting right rear hooked last week, running in the top three. And of course, Marshall Newton as well. He finished in P6, I believe, today. That's a pretty good job for him. He's point battling, trying to get into the playoffs late. We both arrived pretty late in the season, so we started on a uphill slope. So really good job for him, and also Antonio Bianchi, uh, not necessarily a teammate, but a friend. Jumped in last second, had zero practice, and came out in a P8, qualified P4. So that was a hell of a job by him. Hopefully, he can start running the season, rest of the season with us. So it'd be pretty cool to get a four-car team going. Kevin West, he raced me super clean and respectful. When he passed me, and then when I passed him back, it was super clean. I had no issues with him. It was fantastic racing. That's how you're supposed to race at any track, really. So and of course, you guys from doing the show. Can't wait to go back, watch this one back, and see what I did wrong, see what Caleb did right. And thanks for QSR for putting on the races. It's been a blast all season long. Can't wait. Looking for playoffs or chase,
Well,
whatever they call it here.
well, I'll tell you, I think I might have an idea of what Caleb did. I think he was a little bit sneaky, and didn't share everything with you right there, Jared, if you want that, honestly. But Jared Ziegler gets second here tonight. Jared, appreciate your time. And we'll see you in sweet home Talladega next week.
Yeah, see you then. Have a good one.
That was your second place finisher, Jared Ziegler. We have, in fact, caught up with third place Kevin West. Let's get him up here in the booth. Kevin West, Morgan and Jake up in the booth. You got a copy?
Got you, Morgan.
All right. Well, P3 for you tonight. You had a shot at our leader there with about 20 to go. You were chasing him down 2 seconds back. Didn't quite have enough in the tank to get him. Fell back to third. Why don't you tell us, what did you need to get one of those top 2 spots here tonight?
A caution. I used my tires up trying to catch them there. I was searching around, running high, running low, running high in one corner, low in the next corner, just trying to find some speed. But ultimately, just burned their tires up there and started fading there at the end. The 57 caught us, got around us, but happy with the third. We didn't have a great qualifying run, so and to run as many green flag laps as we did to get up to third, I think that's pretty good.
Yeah, 8 spots you gained. I believe you were one of the biggest mover in the top 10. You and Cooper both gained 8 and 7 spots respectively. But yeah, obviously, this number 1 machine was able to work through the field pretty well. Obviously, had that incident right early in the race, kind of get everything shuffled out. But you had 1 pit stop here tonight. What was the thought behind the 1-stop strategy versus the 2-stop strategy other people had going on? What was your thought process there?
I just kind of wanted to cut the race in half and just take full advantage of the tire run on each run. Um, I wish I kind of would have pitted a little bit earlier there with the '07 in hindsight, but hindsight's 2020, I guess.
Yep, that is for sure. Hindsight is always 2020. Well, I know I bet you want to shout out the what do you call your followers on TikTok?
The mobile homies
Mobile
over on
homies.
TikTok.
Go ahead and shout them out, and all your other sponsors and everyone else you want to thank for this third place finish here tonight.
Shout out to Vspeed, man. You guys are maybe the best I've ever seen as far as broadcasts go for iRacing. So shout out to you guys. I appreciate what you do. Shout out to QSR admins for putting the league on, putting this together. head on over to TikTok at Trailer Park Dude. Check me out on there. I got a lot of iRacing content. Would love to have anybody watching come over and give us a follow.
Right on, and you can scratch out the word maybe because we are the best at broadcasting iRacing. Just saying. But anyway, congratulations, Kevin, on the third place finish, and we'll see you next week at Talladega.
See you guys.
Right on. That is your third place finisher, Kevin West. Now, top step of the podium, Caleb Nelson. Caleb Nelson, Morgan and Jake up in the booth. You got a copy?
Hi there, how are you?
I am doing well. We find ourselves here in Vspeed Victory Lane. Look around, remember it, because you earned the heck out of this one. 83 laps led. I think we only ran 90 of them. Started on the pole.
Yeah.
What made you so fast tonight? How were you able to just leave everyone in the dust?
Beats the heck out of me. I'm not gonna lie. I'm terrible here normally. Um, I hadn't been running the past probably year or so on iRacing, and used to run 12-1 all the time. Came out and I was like, well, the heck with it. Let's try 16-1 like everybody else, and apparently it works. So I think I found something and got into my little groove there. And once you get get into a rhythm, you're just you're on rails.
Yeah, this is definitely a rhythm racetrack with both ends fairly similar, and I don't think I ever saw that '07 car off the bottom of the racetrack. What was it down there versus the top side, which is typically preferred here, that made you so fast, or the car so stable, or what was it that made you run the bottom?
Well, I had practiced with my team, Marshall, Newton, and Jared, but we were like, well, maybe the wall's it. So we'd been practicing on the wall leading up to the race, and as soon as we got in the session, we did a run up on the wall, and I was like, well, let's try one of us run the wall, one run the bottom, and one, you eliminate the risk of tapping the wall, which may not do damage here, but it slows you down. You lose half a second, and that adds up over a run. So safer route running the bottom, and somehow it managed to save my tires a little bit more. So I just stuck with it in the race. I did not leave the bottom willingly. I will say that the only times I was up off of it were not comfortable and definitely got me out of my zone.
Well, obviously not far enough out of your zone to lose the lead because you led the vast majority of this race and had that one-stop strategy, so you were never really in trouble of being undercut. Everything kind of a perfect race for you, I would say, Caleb. And who do you want to shout out or thank, or who's responsible, other than you, obviously, in the driver's seat, for such a great run tonight?
Well, I gotta, my teammates, Marshall Newton and Jared Ziegler. I mean, we practice, we put the time in to get it here, get on the track, get going. My former real life racing sponsor, Pring Plumbing and Heating, they were awesome when I was actually racing, so we carried it over here to iRacing. My wife for letting me do this every Tuesday night with you guys, which is great. The admins for putting this on, but yeah, no, thank you guys. It's much needed after how last week ended at Indy.
Yeah, last week was a tough race for a lot of drivers. What do you think about Talladega? You excited to go there next week?
No, God no. I hate super speedway racing. It's total crapshoot. Everybody's in the pack. You're flying by the seat of your pants, and you're at everybody else's mercy there. That's it's fast, it's fun, but very rarely do you get the finishes that correlate with that.
Yeah, it's definitely the most intense style of racing on the servers. But congratulations, Caleb, on this big dominating win at Homestead Miami. We'll see you next week at Talladega.
Thank you guys. Have a good one.
You as well. And that is going to do it for our post-race interviews. You have been watching QSR Simulations in the Hensley Forklift Parts and Service 135 here from Homestead, Miami. Jake, let's have a quick look ahead at the next week. Your favorite racetrack. Why don't you go tell us about what we're going to expect at Talladega 1 week from today?
Chaos. That's what you always end up seeing at Talladega, which is, obviously one of my favorite tracks. Obviously, went for numerous years with my dad. Basically, it was our little spring getaway, I guess you could say, father-son trip. And we'd always go to the Aaron's 499 Aaron's dream weekend and everything. So very, very special place near and dear to my heart. Matter of fact, I actually have my engagement photos with my wife. When we were engaged, we actually had them took at Talladega as well. So a lot of great things have happened right there at Sweet Home Talladega. So that's going to be awesome. And then obviously you got the Rock, Richmond, Dover Auto Club. Just an amazing schedule that all the admins, Quentin Stewart, Ronnie Joyner, all the guys over with QSR that have made this schedule right here all the way up. And from what I'm hearing, their chase formats is going to be really off the wall from what I've heard, Morgan. So don't know a whole lot about that. May try to get Quentin and Ronnie, get them on the download and let them talk about that. But it's going to be interesting for sure, especially right after July the 2nd when the chase begins. But I can't wait, man. I can't wait for next week. 3, 4, maybe even 5 wide, the big one. I mean, we saw it. We saw what happened last week in the Gym 4 race. I got a feeling we're probably going to see the same thing when we go there next Tuesday night.
Is a great schedule that was made by the admins, and looking forward to next week at Talladega. I will be in the car behind the wheel, so prayers for all the rest of the field, I guess. Anyway, let's wrap this thing up. QSR simulations here for everyone on Vspeed. Bradley Cooper, Adam Baker, Eddie Smith, my co-commentator tonight, Jake Reeves, the redneck announcer at the Jake Reeves 57. We wish you a great evening, good night, and we'll hopefully see you tomorrow for Racing Revolution here live on Vspeed, Oil, whatever league you want to watch. You can find it right here on Vspeed. See you next time, guys.